All right, 5 Avid settings I think you need in no particular order. Let's go to some user settings here. I'll start because it's right here, something called interface. This one's very subjective. I actually don't like the stress on my eyes of this dark black with the bright timeline. I like the lighter gray Avid thing, but obviously whatever your preference is your preference. And the same thing here, I do like to have the purple line rather than the white. I guess just because I've been using Avid for so long, it's comfort food for me, right? See how now this highlight bar has turned purple. Same thing with the clips and everything like that. So these other ones I think will be a little less subjective. Let's go into Composer right here. So I really believe you should always display 2 rows of data up here, 1 row of data of buttons for the buttons right here. Why do I want this 2 rows of data up top? So a lot of times you're actually trying to match maybe certain time codes and things like that. And so it's helpful to have, especially on the record side, to have the master time code and also a separate time code to look at. Audio 2, audio 3, that you're matching some sort of time code. And you also want to have the master up there at top. The other thing, to make sure you have the center duration in the center. That might not be a setting, is it? Right, you want that center duration. You definitely need to see anytime you mark an in and out, what's my duration there, 1 second, 10 frames. Okay, so next one would be this little clip called Grid. And something to why I only have 1 row of buttons here. I don't need all these buttons. I also have here with the new Avid this set of buttons over here if I really wanted to. And real estate is valuable. But I have a grid button always on the right side of my record monitor. What doesn't come up automatically is this show axes, tick marks, thirds, and points. So I've hit apply with that, and then I gotta hit OK. Then I hit the grid. I'm able to see a much more visual representation. If I was, I don't know, moving titles, maybe I was making boxes or something in Avid, unfortunately, and not doing it in After Effects, which probably is a bad thing to do in the first place. But it does help, and you have these thirds here to go. The upper third, the eye line might help you visually represent something. So besides just having a plain grid that Avid sets up for you, good thing to add these 4 settings. Next one would be import settings. One thing to say, I'm not going to go over this. I actually have a video on importing alpha channels. But in color levels, I do like to switch it full range to legal range. This is a broadcast television thing. It probably really wouldn't matter that much if you were uploading to YouTube and whatnot. But when I'm importing graphics from After Effects or out of house or things like that, in theory, Avid will now keep the whites and maybe the blacks or the saturation in a legal broadcast standard range. I don't know. It helps my frame of mind. It helps my peace of mind to know that I'm not making a graphic in After Effects that was incredibly out of broadcast range. In theory, when I imported it using this setting, I will not have people scold me for making my whites too hot. Last one here will be on timeline. This is probably my biggest one ever. There is nothing more annoying to me than when I go onto an Avid and I forget to turn off this auto monitoring checkbox. I'm going to leave it on right now to show you, but in theory, this moves the monitoring of your video level to whatever cut you make. So if I had 3 layers, but then I made a cut on V1, now I'm only seeing V1. I won't see what's on V2 and V3. I don't really want to auto monitor. I'm going to leave my monitoring at the top level of my timeline. If for some reason I needed to look at something underneath, I'll just click on it, but I don't want it to switch automatically. And that's what auto monitoring does. And I do not like that. So I click that off. If I'm going to jump on a new Avid and make settings, that's the thing I remember to do the most, because that will really, really frustrate me. So I'm going to say okay to that. One other thing I would say, just a personal subjective thing too, please change your track colors. I find some level of sadness when I see people edit with the generic, basic Avid colors. I think it's almost like going into a bar and drinking the same exact beer every single time you go to drink. My God, there's so much variety and flavor in this world and so many colors. Change the Avid colors from their standard colors, please. And the other one I'll say, just I have a video on this as well, media creation. Remember, when you're always starting a project, you want to go into these settings. Make sure your render is set to the right drive and hit apply to all and things like that, so you don't have to redo every time you render or import a title or something like that, and remember what drive you need to put on. So hopefully once you get these settings all in together, now quickly your settings are done, and now you have time to drink some beer. So this weekend, there's supposed to be a huge snowstorm in New York, and I'm looking forward to drinking this beer I found in the store. They got me with the appeal of this name, Get In, Shut Up, Hold On, and the fact that it was made with real New York bagels. I don't know if this is a good idea. I don't know if this will taste very well. I'm going to find out this weekend with a huge snowstorm blizzard going right outside the house. And is there anything really better than drinking beer during a blizzard? I don't think so. The only thing that might be better is if you need to learn Avid, to go to avidbeer.com. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.